beats. I think they gave us beats that they were throwaways for them. You know, not saying he ever said that to me. I'm just saying, looking back at it now, what was going on back then with our team. Again, black males not saying nothing but doing shit, not really being on each other's team. They're the only guys that segregated their whole team and when you segregate yourself, you can't stand.
Right.
You know, it's in the Bible. You can't segregate a house amongst itself and expect it to stand, and it didn't stand. You know, everybody lost. You know, like DOS Effects went platinum, and then they were going. It just decreased. One year it was this. Next year it was getting smaller and smaller till they faded. You know, I went with Death Row. I had the bigger crew, but I didn't want to drop with Dr. Dre. Everybody think, oh, you got to remember. I'm looking at these little black kids like Corrupt and Daz. They want to come out. I'm looking at how do you just got here. Let's help them with their scenario, which we did. We gave Snoop Black Exploitation. Me and Sam. That was our thing, and you know we helped Snoop, we groomed Snoop, and Snoop took off. That's what Dr. Dre didn't need nothing else after that. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, and we were happy with Snoop. Like we celebrated a lot with Snoop. You know, and it was just like, okay, now where do we sit? And then Sam got jumped because we were at a place. We really didn't belong there. Only made us push the envelope because he didn't get paid for the Death Row for the K Solo album. Parrish wouldn't pay him. So I had to take him to LA. I said, well, come on, let's keep going. And then Dr. Dre paid him and he became, you know, Sam Snead. He had some great records with Dre. You know, if we had to do it over, we would have to do the same thing again. But I didn't want to come out first and go. And Dr. Dre was setting it up for me to come out because Knick Knack Paddywhack was Tupac's California Love.
Right.
You know, it wasn't like he wasn't honoring me being in his presence. It was just like, how do you cut the guys? How do you come out and you're from the East Coast and this shit's going on with the West and East? That's what I'm saying about Black America. It was just crazy. It was again, it was Black America being crazy. It was like, oh shit, now it's us versus them, and we're over here living with them.
Crazy.
Can you take me? Yeah, just
Can you take me back to your debut though? What was your train of thought going into your very first album in the creative process to put out, tell the world what my name is?
Well, the creative process, I knew that I had those records. I had like a whole bunch of hit records on this album. I had Tales from the Crackside, all of that stuff on one album. And I actually kept saying to myself, you sure you're going to put all of these on this album? Maybe you should pull some back and just spoon feed people a little. But I just went guns ho. I was like, fuck it, just go guns out. And I did. I went guns ablaze. And then, you know, but again, you know, it was, for me, it just, I don't know. Like to this day, I know that it could have been, it would have been a lot different if, like I said in the last interview, that Eric and Parrish was on the same page, making everything together. I would have had the whole empowerment of EPMD. I didn't. I had one side of EPMD, and you know that one side of EPMD was really, you know, guinea pigging his career right now. He's guinea pigging it, and then, you know, he got that short end of the stick when it came to Eric and him going head to head. Eric had those hits. Eric kept growing. He stayed with Def Jam. He kept producing. You know, Parrish produced for a little while, then he faded. Like he wasn't that. He didn't go long like that. Right. You know, and it doesn't say nothing bad about him as a person. It just, you know, you asked me, and you know, that's what it was. It was like Eric was really producing. You know, Parrish was mainly the business guy and the mouthpiece, and it was a you know, and that's why when I went to Death Row, I knew that he was going to keep going the route he was going to go. We were going to be in nothing. I knew it. Right. You know, and I was right. He wasn't stronger than Eric in that area. Eric, that's all Eric did all day. You know, he sat there. In fact, I have a sampler that I never got back from Eric Sherman because he used it. My Rolling 30, that was my Rolling 30. And he just used it. He didn't stop. He just kept making music. You know, Hitting Switches was one of my favorite joints too. But I could see, this is what I'm trying to say about black culture. It was so stupid of us to let them do that when we should have just spoke up and been like, yo, nah, man, I want him to do this and you do that. We should have just spoke up. But black folks was so young and so just to get a bag, nobody said nothing. You know what I'm saying? And looking back on it, it was just so stupid. What were they beefing of? You guys are both from the same town. You guys are close. What are we doing? Like, we're gonna do this. Same thing with Easy and you know, then Easy dies. Then Dre's on TV. Oh, miss you, Easy. It's like we gotta figure another approach to work with each other in a way where, you know, we can learn. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's okay to make a mistake, but learn from it and then regroup. Because the things that are at stake, just like that thing with Rough Riders, to be at Def Jam and EPMD not, it's crazy.
Right.
It's just crazy.
Right.
And nothing against X and them. Like, I don't know him, not to dislike him, but you know, it is what it is, because you had your team were hungry and they stayed together. You know, our team didn't stay together. You know, and I ain't crying about it. It's just, it is what it is.
Right.
So I regrouped. I came to Florida and just did something different. I didn't really want to execute in New York anymore because I had to try something new. I had to teach new kids what I learned, and so it doesn't ever go to that level again. I've also discovered Ratwaller. Ratwaller was a producer for Shazzy. Shazzy was I was dating her. She was on Electra. I introduced him to Redman. That took off. Ratwaller became full circle. Sam Snead did some great records with 50 Cent, with Jay-Z. He's full circle. My boy Black Nails from ATL. You know, I got some who's still with Dr. Dre, and you know, he moving around with Interscope. But what I mean, I say that to say this. We gotta learn from the stupid things, and you know, hopefully we can, you know, because Dr. Dre, don't get me wrong, was very instrumental in teaching me how to do it, because when I got there at Death Row, I said, well, shit, you don't want to come out. Watch him work. And I did. And by re-watching him build gin and juice and everything, I got a chance to witness it myself, hand in room, just watching him. And then going back to the house and just see how Dre did things, I understood how to produce. In other words, I had a better understanding of, because I'm a visual learner. You know, even when I went to Full Sail, it was better when I would talk to Travis and be like, no, just show it to me. And I would tape it, and then I could read the textbooks. But show it to me first. Because I'm a visual learner. I can see it and know how to work that way.
Right.
Just like when I would watch Ali as a kid, I would see him shuffle. I would know how he would sidestep and hop over here and then throw 9 punches. I know how to do that too. But I watch him. By watching, and you can see how the rhythm and master the rhythm of what he's doing to get it exactly down pat, where the power is in the punch and everything. I know how to do it. So when my trainer saw me at 8 years old, he goes, this kid could do all of these moves. What are you kidding me? He's a natural. He didn't know I was watching the videos already. I mean, I was watching Ali do it. You know, to learn how to do it. Sugar Ray Robinson can hit you with a right hand and get you and get rid of you backing up. By watching. You know, and then got into the history of the first hub of boxing in the New York was St. Nick's Arena. My father was the matchmaker. So I got a chance to get behind the guts of it and see how Emil Griffith felt when he killed the guy Barrett and hit his head on the pole and he died. I know because I'm reading the manuscripts. I'm right there. I'm looking at the film. I'm in there. I'm in there because I'm watching. I understand it. You know what I'm saying? Then Sunnyside Garden came. Then Madison Square Garden blew up. You know what I'm saying? You know, history. Right. When you understand history, then and only then can you make an adjustment and fix things. So I fixed it by going to Death Row and watching Dr. Dre. EPMD, I didn't learn nothing from EPMD like that. You know, Eric had an ability, Parrish had an ability. They didn't teach it. I didn't get a chance to, you know, I didn't teach it. They didn't teach it. And by watching Dr. Dre, he was like, he don't know, but I was watching everything he did. And I was like, okay. Even there were times where Dr. Dre would walk out the room and hear music bouncing off from 3 different walls, and he would hear something different and then go back in. I repeat that. I never told his formula though, and I never will. You know, he's my friend, and in the music industry, he's my friend, and my guys are still over there with him. You know, like Nails and all of them, and the guys, my brother John Knock Sugar, over Akon. That's my brother. I lived with him before I even made a rap record. I lived with him in Brownsville. Well, his father and his other brothers, which are my brothers, Wink Cooper, Keedy, Sean Cooper, in Brownsville. I was running from the crime there with them. So Riley Cooper, Riley Sr., his son is the one that knocked Sugar out. That's my brother too. So all of these things that go into what I'm calling in my life is music and boxing and all that were all put together. I learned from all of these different things, and I'm going, okay, I get it now. You know what I'm saying? I was naive, because like I said, my guys were so young, they were freestyling. They didn't know what they were doing. But you offer Paris that kind of money, what do you think he's gonna do? You know what I'm saying? He's a young kid.
Right.
You know, I don't blame him. I probably would have made the same mistake too.
I wanna get into your second album. But before we do that, were you happy with the way your debut album turned out? Or is there anything you would change?
Well, here's the thing. I did Moms in My Business, A Fugitive. I had some not really. Not really. I was happy for the time I was doing. I had a hot album. Bismarck told me to. Bismarck was my childhood friend. He was very happy with it. And you know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, I had no issue with it. I didn't spend a lot of time on it. I had it wrote already. It was already wrote. All of that stuff was wrote, and it came out, and it was a good album. It was a very good album. You know what I'm saying? I don't have an issue with that. You know what I'm saying? I think that what I think is real is that I'm a lot like Barry Gordy. I have a lot in common with Barry Gordy. Barry Gordy was an amateur boxer too. Barry Gordy, I had a conversation with living at Dr. Dre's house before I got my apartment in Woodland Hills. I went to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles with Kelly, Malvin Kelly, which was R. Kelly's cousin from Chicago. And I met Norman Whitfield. And Norman Whitfield, you know, I didn't know who he was, but here I am wearing the afro, and he shakes my hand, and I said hello, and he liked the way I spoke, and he said, hey kid, I'm gonna buy your food today. And I was like, okay, but I didn't know who he was. And he said, how many hit songs do you have? And I think at the time I had 8, and I poked my chest out and said 8, proud. And he said, I have 800. And I poked my chest back in, and a relationship occurred, and then I would call him, and he would give me so much pointers on how they built Motown, and he gave me the MCI. I got an MCI 500 out of it, and I brought it to Newport Beach with my guys still there, and you know, I learned what a record industry from the standpoint of them building it. I would talk to him every night or come by, and he would just give me so much ear hustle. You know what I'm saying? This was when I was grooming Snoop. And, you know, it worked, man. I learned a lot from him. You know what I'm saying? And then God bless him. He died of kidney failure, but he was a special mentor, man. And he really took a lot of time with me.
After your debut album did its thing, it took approximately 2 years to drop your sophomore album. Where does K Solo find itself at this point?
Well, the sophomore album came out. I think the sophomore album was a lot of people liked the second album a little better than the first one. The first one was dope.
Right.
First one had that shit too. Where they both were dope. Cause Sam Snead was hot as hell. You know what I'm saying? They just rushed us, and I didn't really understand. Like the second album was rushed. If you can hear, some of them songs really weren't even completed correctly. You know, it was like. And they were just rushing us. They didn't have no. It was a bad experience on the second one. And just totally, it was just horrible, you know. And then I learned when living with Dre, when we finished Snoop's album, how the people would come in every day. Jimmy Iovine and them would come over, and Dre, he wasn't ready to give them the album. They would leave mad, but they didn't get the album until he was ready to give it to them. And then I knew, I kind of understood, you know, watching how Dre did it.
About a month later,
About a month
EPMD
later,
releases
EP.
their fourth album after your debut or your sophomore album. Uh, Business Never Personal. You were part of what people consider one of the greatest posse tracks of all time. Can you take us back to the creation of Headbanger?
Yeah, that was crazy because Eric had made that for Ice Cube.
Wow.
And Ice Cube was my man too. In fact, when I was out in LA, Ice Cube was with me. We was driving around in this tracker, and I was number 9 with Knick Knack Paddywhack. And EPMD was kind of salty that they didn't use Knick Knack Paddywhack as a video. They used this other record, some whack shit called it wasn't whack. Can't say EPMD never did nothing whack. It just wasn't what we known to do. It was one of them, crossover records. You Had Too Much to Drink with the rock guitar and the shit. They used that as a video, hoping to cross over and sell some records, and it didn't work. So when the Headbanger came out, they was like, all right, you're gonna get your chance. So, we're gonna do this one. And I got on that shit, and it was what it was. That was a real good time. We did it at Rock and Reel. And I remember Redman came behind me with, I'm the original P-Funk. After I said, I'm the original rap, it was just crazy. Our energy was crazy. And we shot the video. And yeah, Headbanger was crazy. I just wish, I wish that knowing what we know now, we could have just did a whole album like of that first, not just one song, a whole album with us on it like that. I think we would have been better off because when not realizing it, we came out with solos first. When Wu came out, they came out with the album first, the whole crew.
Right.
Everybody knew it was, in Black America, you don't get a second chance. You got to come out with the perception right away. Now, this is what it is. And then do the solos. You know what I'm saying? We were the brainchild for them, too, where they looked at us and said, yeah, we want to do that. But we also didn't get credit for, we put Timberlands in the music game. Long Island put they wasn't wearing Timberlands in New York, man. They wasn't wearing Carhartt, none of that shit in New York. We added that to the hip hop uniform. Champion hoodies, Timberlands, Carhartts, we did that shit. Because Muhammad Ali would wear Carhartt and train, and that's where I got it from. And nobody can deny it because I could prove it. Fugitive, you can't find another video. If you can, with Carhartt in the video rapping, it was K-Solo's Fugitive first. And then Muhammad Ali, when he was in there, when Jimmy Brown's first interview, when he was fighting Sonny Liston, Ali was wearing it too.
Right.
So yeah. And then Timberland, the uniform that New York had for hip hop was British Walkers, Playboys, and Ballads. The boots that they wore then had red laces, and they were lumberjack boots. They weren't Timberlands. Then Timberlands came because we was around the white boys that wore them construction boots, and we started wearing them.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Can you take me back to some of your best Hit Squad tour memories?
Yeah, one time we was on a tour going to LA to go see NWA to shoot the video for I don't know what video. I think it was Big Payback. And it was me, Scratch, Bernard, Fendi, Eric Parrish, Redman. We was all on the bus. No, Redman wasn't there yet. Redman wasn't there. And the bus caught a flat on the bridge, and Scratch was almost out the fucking top of the roof with his jewels in his hand.
Wow.
Like, he was actually out the hatch. We was like, yo. And I looked up, and this Scratch's feet was coming out the hole. I was like, yo. He was ready to, he don't care where it was going to happen. He was out with the jewels in his hands, and he was going to figure it out. Whatever happened outside, he was going to figure that shit out. But the bus driver had got control of it, and he brought his ass back in. But he was going out the hatch like Spider-Man with his jewels in his hand.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
You made a post, I believe, yesterday about rapping about DJ Scratch, naming him Biggie Smalls, and that's where the name came from. Can you take us back to that moment and how Biggie got his name?
Yeah, because my era of hip-hop is dates back. So black exploitation was around before hip-hop, and I always used that. Me and Sam Snead always knew that if we would use that in hip-hop, it took off, just like Chris Wallace used it, but we knew that before he used it, it was going to happen. We was just trying to, we didn't have, I don't know why, we couldn't come up with the music like that right away. I to this day, that's the thing me and Sam Snead just trip out on. Because we were trying to blend in funk with this EPMD stuff. But I kept saying to Scrat, I kept telling Sam, I said, nah, man, if we try this, we just go this route, man, it's over. Because remember, this was before that. And sure enough, when Biggie did it, we was like, fuck, there it goes. But then we were there with Snoop, though, so it was okay. In fact, right when Biggie came out, we was doing it with Snoop, so.
Gotcha.
At the same time, we didn't miss the bus. We just got it off with Snoop first, and then we went and got Huggy Bear. We went and got the Huggy Bear. We went and got Pam Grier. Sam Snead. I would tell Sam, and he would tell Dre, and that shit would go down, and I would just be laughing. You know, it really worked to the point where when we seen it work at Death Row, you couldn't tell us shit. Like we was way ahead of ourselves. Then me and Sam Snead was like, I told you. Sam was like, yo, like we would just hug each other, just happy that our vision came off. He's like, I told you the shit was gonna work. Cause think about it. Biggie Smalls said he snatched ropes at the Roxy's. It's not true. He was too young to be at the Roxy's. You can't snatch rope at the Roxy's. Nigga, me and Paris was at the Roxy's. And we were babies. How was you at the Roxy's? Snatching ropes at the Roxy's. How? See? Not true.
The Hit Squad eventually broke up in '93. Did you see this coming, or did it catch you by surprise?
Nah, I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it was gonna happen because money come into play, man. People get crazy. I knew it, but it's a learning curve for them. You know, let me say something about EPMD though. I don't fault them. They was too fucking young. They to do what they did as young as they were. Come on, man. And then he came back and got me? Come on, man. The motherfuckers are incredible. They still go down in history as the fucking, as the grizzly bears of all grizzly. I can't never say nothing bad about them. They were too young. They was young. They didn't know, and then they was getting all that money at that time. Nah, you can't, they were babies, man. But they did very good for who they were and as old as they were.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Nah, you live and you learn. That's all that is. You live and you learn. You can't, them some real, I love them, man. I love them both, man. They special dudes, man. If I win tomorrow, they get the ticket right off the rip because they know a lot now. They know better now. They didn't know no better then. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Who knew better? None of us knew.
Right.
We were all freestyling, trying to figure it out. I would have never rhymed in front of DMX if I knew better, but I didn't know no better. Here I am rhyming in front of him in jail. Everybody's like, yo, and look what he does. I didn't know. If I knew better, I would have just shut up. Nah, I don't want to do that. See? Because now you have nothing to go on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. I thought it was being cool. Oh, yeah, we in jail. He's rhyming, you rhyme. I didn't know it was going to turn into that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm not mad at him neither because he's trying to get somewhere too. We don't have power in Black America like that. We have to take every opportunity we have to take. If I wouldn't have been, like my nana told me, God bless her, she said, you should have never been in jail anyway. They would have never heard it. Don't be mad. Because I did something stupid and hit the white boy that called me a nigga. I ain't no nigga. I should have just kept walking. See, I would have never been in jail for him to hear anything, to attach himself to anything. I didn't belong in there.
Right.
I'm not an animal. I didn't steal from nobody. I wasn't that kind of kid. I was boxing. I should have kept my hands to myself. I should have not been in jail. That shit's stupid. I always tell my kids that. Ain't nothing there for you. I went there. You ain't got to go there. Ain't nothing there for you. But I didn't know no better. I thought that shit was cool. Oh, I'm in jail. Let me take my jail shot. You know how you take a little jail picture?
Right.
I thought that shit was cool. Little ignorant motherfucker. I thought it was cool in jail like this. Right? I learned the hard way. You know what I'm saying? And then my boys, they think about it. EPMD looking at all them motherfuckers that put on their own motorcycles, talking about they were the crew. They wasn't no crew. They had motherfucking girls and boys that just had a motorcycle putting jackets on them. That wasn't no crew. The perception had everybody like, oh, it shook every, yo, that's a game. Man, you got yourself in some shit. No, that woman don't know nothing about nothing. She gonna go home with her husband on the motorcycle. They ain't down. See, nobody knew.
Right.
Nigga shit, nobody knew. You know what I'm saying?
You told us stories